And it's a beautiful thing too. Hold up. Yeah.
So the big news that spins out of middle of the day on a Monday when I was literally doing something else and couldn't get to record a video is that Samoa Joe had to relinquish the NXT championship, and now a new NXT champion will be crowned in the Fatal 4-Way match on the debut episode of NXT 2.0. This led to a lot of conspiracy theories. A lot of your favorite podcasters and YouTubers have been out here rubbing their chinny chin, saying to themselves, well, isn't that convenient? Samoa Joe, 40-year-old guy, well, he has to surrender the title just before Tuesday when a new champion is going to be crowned. Real suspicious timing. When could he have possibly been injured? He couldn't have been injured. He's not wrestled a match since the match with Karrion Kross. I mean, you would think, with all these geniuses running around here on the internet, that maybe that was the match that he got injured in. Now, it stands to reason that WWE keeps it very, very quiet when guys have concussion issues, which Samoa Joe does. Samoa Joe has a history of concussion issues. If something happened to Samoa Joe in that match, and now he can't pass a physical, that's why he had to give up the title. And I'm guessing that's exactly what happened. I know conspiracy theories with McMahon is taking over NXT because Triple H had a cardiac event. So Vince McMahon, who is literally 20 years older than Triple H, all of a sudden is going to run all three brands. Come on, man. In any event, let's slow it down. Let's talk about. I'm gonna talk about Samoa Joe, his injuries, what I think happened, and just gonna try to be logical about it and not be sensational. And then I'm gonna say who I think should lead NXT 2.0 into the future. All right, so I already said it. I think it was a concussion issue. Samoa Joe said that he's been taken out indefinitely, but he said it won't be long. He says he won't be long. He has not wrestled a match since his match with Karrion Kross. If you watched that match, you know that Samoa Joe was supremely blown up. He was really out of it. Of course, he had not had a match in like a year before that match. So it took a while. And it took a lot of joling on his part to get WWE to let him wrestle matches. You know, they took him out of the ring because he had really bad concussion issues. So that's why they took him out of the ring in the first place. This was his first match back. So it stands to reason that if he has concussion issues and he has a match where he, of course, is taking bumps and he barely finishes the match. I mean, if you go back and watch it, you can tell it was not Joe's finest hour. It really was not. I'm not saying that the match was bad. I'm just saying that Joe had a difficult time. He was having a very difficult time finishing that match. He did finish it. He did win. But he has not been able to wrestle since. He has not gotten physical since. So maybe WWE said, okay, look, he didn't look very good. We're going to give him some time. And then they say, okay, we'll give you a couple of weeks. And then they give him an impact test, which is a test for concussions. And he doesn't pass it. And they say to themselves, okay, this is a guy who has a history of concussions. Now he can't pass a physical. We're just going to strip him of the title. That sounds to be the most reasonable. Other than Vince McMahon swaggering into, the Capitol Wrestling Center and saying, everybody over 40, get the fuck out. And you, Samoa Joe, for no apparent reason, we're going to have you drop the title. For no apparent reason. Not even do it on the show, but like do it on Twitter. Like you put out a Twitter video saying that you're going to end up dropping the title. You know, it's like, is that really something? No, I don't see that happening. I don't see that being the WWE's way of doing business. That doesn't seem to make sense. Now, if they didn't want him to be the champion, they would just beat him in the next title match. Wouldn't that make more sense? I mean, Vince doesn't want him to be the champion. Just beat him in the next title match. I mean, you already got a number one contenders match coming up. So people are thinking that, oh no, they're sabotaging Samoa Joe. Where did this stuff come from? Like, why are these people coming up with all these crazy conspiracy theories? Where did this stuff come from? I have no idea. It's insanity to me that people comes up with this stuff. So here's hoping that Samoa Joe is okay. I would rather Samoa Joe just retire and call it a day rather than have these constant starts and stops, because it's not going to be good for his cardio. It's not going to be good for his career in the long term. For him to have to keep having these stops and starts with his career. Not everybody who's 40 is going to be able to come back. I mean, it's been the year to come back. Christian, Edge, and all these guys keep coming back from these long-term injuries. Maybe Samoa Joe needs a little bit more time. Maybe he needs to, do something else. I don't know. But, I think he tried. He gave us his best when it came to Karrion Kross. I just don't think he has it anymore. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, he'll heal up and come back and be just as good as ever. But I don't think so. I think we're, seeing the last gasps of Samoa Joe, and I think that WWE is probably going to put a big red X over him, especially in terms of medical. I just don't think they're going to let him do it. I think they're going to have to medically retire him, and so I expect that. I don't think there's a conspiracy theory around this. I think if you follow logically what's taking place, that he was probably either hurt or something happened to him in the match with Karrion Kross. And you can see Karrion Kross was working light in that match too, especially like his forearms and stuff like that. He was not really laying it in. But it's okay to say, damn, maybe Joe got hurt in that match. Maybe something's going on we don't know anything about. And nobody ever said Samoa Joe walked out of that match 100%. Nobody ever said that. So whatever the case may be, Samoa Joe is out. Samoa Joe is down. There's no need for a conspiracy theory. It logically makes sense. He hadn't had a match before that. He had a match, and now he can't have a match after that. So that means something happened either in that match or in training or something like that now he can't perform. No need for a conspiracy theory of Vince McMahon going to take the title from him in a memo, because it doesn't make any sense. And I think everybody involved would probably be more than likely say, just let Joe drop the belt in the ring to whoever, whether it's Carmelo Hayes or whoever wins the Fatal 4-Way, right? That would make more sense than anything, right? Taking the title from him on Twitter just seems silly and excessive. So now we got this Fatal 4-Way match. We got LA Knight, Tommaso Ciampa, Pete Dunne, and Kyle O'Reilly. And the winner of this match will, of course, be the NXT champion and will carry the torch of NXT 2.0, which is really NXT 3.0, into the future. So, I was paying attention when this thing started, and what I saw was a lot of people seem to think it's going to be LA Knight. People are saying like, okay, well, it should be Tommaso Ciampa because he never lost the title. A lot of people are saying like, if you want NXT to be focused on the young stars, then you go with Pete Dunne. If almost nobody thinks it's going to be Kyle O'Reilly, and the belief is, if it's Vince McMahon's NXT, which they have bought into, they've drank the Kool-Aid that Vince McMahon at 76 years old is now going to run all 3 wrestling shows. It's going to be LA Knight. So that's the Vince pick. Everybody believes that Vince would pick LA Knight due to his charisma and his ability to cut promos. The fan favorite is more or less Tommaso Ciampa. And if this what you want NXT to be, the feeding ground for young talent, then Pete Dunne is your guy. Almost nobody thinks it's going to be Kyle O'Reilly. For me, I think, you got to go with LA Knight. Why go with anybody else? Yes, I know LA Knight's a little old. I definitely think that he should be on Raw. I think that he has a personality that would fit as being a top heel on Raw. He also, this is being recorded after Raw. He was in FCW. He spent a little bit of time at FCW in the early days of NXT. So he probably is familiar with like Big E and those guys, right? So, he could probably get in there and be able to work with them on Raw. But since he's in NXT, I think he should be at the top of NXT. Now, Pete Dunne is fine. He's a great grappler, but he has no personality. He's a literal human breadstick. I don't know how, like, I know that that's what people really love about NXT is how they focus on the in-ring stuff. It's like, yes, I know NXT loves its in-ring work, but it needs to be more entertainment. There needs to be more personalities in NXT. That's been a huge problem in the brand. And that's why people say, well, they change their personalities when they go to the main roster. It's because they got very little personality when they get there. Like they rarely show any personality as it is. So then when when Vince sees them and they want to throw a cape or a mask or throw face paint on them or something like that, people want to bitch up and act crazy. It's like, maybe try it and do it in NXT first. That's the proving ground. That's the training ground. That's where you're supposed to take risks and do things. LA Knight is a guy who knows who he is. He has a voice. He knows that character. You may hate the name, which I know a lot of people do. I saw some people say he should change it to Eli Knight. And you know what? I like that too. But LA Knight, whatever. It's a fine name. I'm sure he picked it himself. I think he's the right guy. Kyle O'Reilly is another mat grappling dude. And Tommaso Ciampa, while is a good mixture of both, he is a good mixture of independent talent who knows who he is and has a voice and knows what he wants to do. And he's a good grappler. And he's, a guy who could, believably carry NXT forward. The problem is Goldie and that whole thing is a remnant of old NXT, the black and gold NXT. That's, Tommaso Ciampa is like one of those guys. And it was also floating around today because they're doing contract watching on everybody in WWE now. That Johnny Gargano's contract will be coming up in December. At least that's what I've heard. Him and Tommaso Ciampa are really the last two outlaws of the old black and gold NXT. They were the two holdouts. Now, do I see either one of them leaving? Probably not. I don't unless they were shoved out and pushed out. I don't see Ciampa or Gargano leaving. I see them sticking around to be, gatekeepers and, player coaches, which might be nice for them. Because they're not going to get runs at the top anyway. Even in AEW, they're not going to get runs at the top. But they might be able to cycle in occasionally in NXT. So I wouldn't go with Ciampa. And Kyle O'Reilly, I wouldn't go with him either. He's not quite the breadstick that Pete Dunne is. But he ain't too far off. He's he's a bagel. He's more like a bagel, okay? I think your best option is LA Knight. As far as somebody who can entertain with the microphone, he doesn't need to have matches all the time. He can just come out there and cut promos and denigrate the audience and denigrate the fans. And somebody can come out there and stand up to him. It's a perfect thing for future NXT. And yes, I know he's a little old. I get that. Some people say, well, the NXT should be about the youth. I'm like, yeah, you build up somebody young to take his place, but you don't just go with young because young. That doesn't make sense. And I know Pete Dunne is young, but there has to be some other people there. There's going to be some real green guys that are going to be coming through those doors, and they need to be tested. So, and plus I think that if you give, Carmelo Hayes does have that title match in his back pocket. So do you give the title to LA Knight and then just have Carmelo Hayes beat him for it? I think maybe that's a good idea. Carmelo Hayes is a young babyface who is probably going to be in NXT for a little while longer. I think it might be not a bad idea to have LA Knight win the title, have it for a month or two, maybe carry it to whenever the next takeover is, and then you have Carmelo Hayes call his shot. Carmelo Hayes takes the belt from LA Knight, and then you move LA Knight on to Raw or SmackDown or something like that, where he probably belongs. And I think that's where you really cement what NXT 2.0 is you cement it with Carmelo Hayes. And I like that idea. I definitely think you should go with LA Knight. LA Knight's the best choice. I really thought he was going to win this. Like when it came to the Fatal 4-Way to wrestle Samoa Joe, I was actually more apt to pick Pete Dunne because it seemed like Pete Dunne was the story that they were going with when it came to Samoa Joe anyway. But I think in this issue, with the way things are now, I think you flip things and you go with somebody else. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Skin tone, so why attach yourself and piggyback the wealth you didn't earn or lack yourself? I'm telling you to own up to your own success and failures. It's a reason why these sleazy guys